Have you always dreamt of owning your own model airport but you just don't know where to start? Then this video series is for you because I am going to build a model airport and explain everything I do from A to Z and every small step. So, without further ado, let's get started with the materials I'm going to use in this episode. Any of the model airports I have built in the past have been just on a normal wooden plank, and the size is to your own liking. Furthermore, we need some measuring materials like a ruler, protractor and a measuring tape. You need a pen, you need primer paint. This is GSC, and models, aircraft models, they are very handy to already have. Once you have all these materials, we can go into step 1, the layout. So, before you can start building anything, you need to have an idea in mind of what you're going to build, and therefore a layout is very important. Here you see me going onto the wooden plate with some models I already have, and I'm just positioning them in any way or form that comes into my mind, and I want to make sure there are as many possible places for aircraft to be. So here I'm trying to with 3 gates and a taxiway with a runway. And with this idea, I went into paint. I took an image from above with the plane standing in the ways that I thought this is going to be the layout. And then I just started painting over it with the taxiway lines here, the runway outline. And I also created some grass, red lines that indicate the zones where the planes can be parked. You can see a terminal with an access road and everything that needs to be included. And I'm doing it with paint, but if you don't have any paint skills or you don't have a computer to your access, I recommend you to do this on paper. This is really vital because without an idea, without a plan, without a layout, you cannot start building. So this is it then, my layout that the airport is gonna have, and this is actually the first idea that came into mind. 3 gates with a terminal and a runway with in between the terminal and the runway some water and an ILS zone in front of the runway. So now we can head into step 2, priming the wood. So this step is really important because when you put on a primer you have maximum adhesion for the paint that you're going to add later, and also your paint job will last longer, and it's a sealer for any types of dust and things, and it will also make the painting later easier because you'll need to apply less paint and get an even coat. So here you can see I added the primer. And after I was finished, I let it dry for about 12 hours overnight. And after that, it looked great. And the beneficial thing about this primer is that it's already a tint of grey that I want to use in my airport. So now the primer has been added and we can go back to step 1 again. The layout, because when the primer was dried up and I had another look and another thought about it, I had another idea in mind. I, as you can see here, had the idea to make 4 gates with behind the gates a taxiway and then a runway which would run on an angle, and this would allow me to have more models and aircraft on the same amount of space. So once again I went into paint and started designing it once again. And remember, if you do not have access to paint or you don't have Photoshop skills, one you can learn in, or you could go with a paper, which works excellent as well. So here you can see my design now, 4 gates, runway, more aircraft on the same amount of space. So that's it, you think? Well, no, I started designing once again because I woke up another day and got another idea. So here is a design with 5 gates and a kind of circular gate design with 5 gates for 5 narrow body aircraft, 2 parking places, a terminal access road, and quite a big space for terminals. So this is actually gonna be the final design which I'm going to be using for this model airport. So here you can see the terminal, and I also write down here what my wishes are for the terminal. So I want a bus stop in the terminals that the passengers can be transported from the terminal to the aircraft, and the design is to be continued. Nothing to worry about now because we have only just applied the primer to the plate, so we don't care about the terminal design just right now. That means we can go on to the next step, step 3, which is sketch the layout on the plate. For this step you need a couple of things, namely a pen, a ruler, a protractor and this is optional, but you can use a tape measure as well. So let's sketch the layout here. Here you can see me design the road on which the GSC vehicles can travel. As you can see, I use 2 pushback trucks because those are the widest type of GSC that will be driving around the airport, and I'm making sure that they can both pass along each other and then marking a point which marks the width of the road. And then on another point on the plank I put another dot with the same distance from the side, and then I draw a line which you can see is absolutely horribly drawn, so I'm gonna redraw it this time using a pen because that turned out to be working way better. So here you can see me redrawing it with the pen, and that looked great. So now on the other side of the road I draw another line with the pen which marks the width of the road. And on the other side of the quarter circle I do the same thing again, make sure that the distance is again the same as on the other side, and then the roads on the sides are finished, and then it's time to position the aircraft in the middle. And what I'm doing here is I put a pushback truck in between the aircraft and the side of the road because I want there to be able to stand a pushback truck between the road and the aircraft. So now that that's the case, I can draw the lines for the road that's going to cross from the left to the right and in the middle. And what you can see me doing here is do the same thing with the pushback trucks again. And this way I am sure that there's enough space for all the GSC around the aircraft to be able to move around, and it doesn't have to be tight. And next up is drawing the other side of the road, and here I'm once again doing the same thing with the pushback trucks, and there are a few turns, so I'm really taking the time to do it good, or you would expect, but I actually drew a line from the wrong dot to another dot, so that was not so handy. But we're just sketching now with a pen, so it is no big issue, and here I fixed it, and the pushback trucks can run perfectly from side to side along all the aircraft. So here you can see the finished design. I also created all the other lines that I designed in Photoshop, but I don't think you really want to see that, so I left that out. But here you go, this is how it all looks now. And that's actually also it for this video. So for the next video, which should be very soon, I wanna make the lines that we just sketched with paint pens and paint more tints of gray, which is also in the Photoshop plan. But unfortunately that is all for today. I hope I helped you or inspired you making your own model airport. I would really appreciate it if you consider to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you very soon in the next video or YouTube short.